Hello, this is Paloma. I come back with the story the sky is telling for the next few days. Beautiful family, thank you for your time, for listening, for sharing, for your comments. I truly appreciate them. So we open this week now fully entering the Mercury retrograde period. It starts on the 25th of November until the 15th of December. It's going to happen in Sagittarius, and Mercury is going to go from the 22nd degree back until the 6th degree of Sagittarius, which is the school of freedom, wisdom, and the great journey. As it is habitual, because it is Mercury retrograde, we have 3 of them, sometimes 4 of these movements during the year, where through 3 weeks we have the opportunity of having a purification, an update of our mental body. In truth, I think it's a beautiful opening that allows us to cleanse our perception, to make adjustments, to have a reflection, a recovery of energy, a repair, truly a transformation in the realm of our thoughts. So I think one of the most limiting aspects of our being humans is our belief systems, especially because we tend to be unaware of them. And Sagittarius precisely works with our beliefs, with our belief system, with our philosophy, with our cosmovision. And it has this very beautiful impulse of expansion and growth. So the combination is quite lovely if you think of it like this. We could actually go beyond our limiting beliefs if we allow ourselves to have this adventure, which is truly an immersion in our own inner realms. There will be, it's a little bit challenging because of the way in which it happens, but the true invitation that I find here is silence. It's communion with your divine guidance inside. It's asking for a lot of space so these beliefs and ideas can dissolve and allow us to go beyond, to see beyond, to maybe allow ourselves to have a change of opinion, a change of thought, a change of direction, to update as well our relationship with truth and with freedom as living experiences that require, because we're going to be in a process, some patience. So the main characteristic of this Mercury retrograde in terms of astrological alignments is that he's going to be opposing Jupiter, retrograde in Gemini, and he's going to be creating a square with Saturn. So this is a T-square. I'm going to speak of this again in a moment because it is part of the new moon in Sagittarius. So there might be like an excess of stimulation, of noise, of sort of just like a lot of, just noise inside and outside that can be very distracting. Yet the true conspiracy within this configuration is asking you, inviting you with Saturn in the top of this T-square to come into a place of temperance, of maturity, of patience, and also just this silence that I'm mentioning, where we can maybe listen to the whispers of Divine Mother. The other aspect is that Mercury is going to be weaving this beautiful trine to Chiron. This is also an aspect inside of the new moon in Sagittarius, which to me speaks of this healing, the way in which we perceive, like cleansing the filter through which we experience life that has to do with the past and has to do with the pain that Chiron addresses, so we can actually perhaps retrieve the joy of being ourselves, the spiritual joy, the spark of divinity and creativity that in the first place invited us to be here, to be alive, to come into this experience of humanity. So it's possible that at the first stage of this retrograde we feel a bit confused, like we don't know what to choose, we don't know which direction to go, there's doubt, and it's okay. It's part of the idea. It is not the time for a final decision. Let us not be too attached to our thoughts or even too identified with our opinions. Maybe we could be intentional with tending to detail, because that's where we can have some inconvenience if we are too distracted, but also just becoming aware that we are all in a process of updating ourselves. And there is this true longing for expansion and for growth. It's just this time it's quite clear that this has to happen from the inside out. And this is a journey, an adventure inside yourself. So at the beginning, we might have more questions than answers, and that's perfectly okay. It's right on time, I mean, with the invitation. So beginning the month of December, on the 1st of December, we're going to have this beautiful new moon in Sagittarius. It's in the 9th degree of this beautiful school of the Archer, the Seeker, which precisely invites to inquire, no? The objective of this is to maybe rejuvenate our energy, our vision, our purpose, to light the fire inside of us and be filled with hope again. So I can think of some reflections, like what is meaningful for you right now? What makes you feel aligned with a sense, with a higher purpose? Where do you want to point your arrow towards? No? How could you cultivate true wisdom from all the path that you have already walked? Is there fidelity? Is there loyalty? Is there love to your truth? Is your truth updated? Is there congruency and coherence between your values, your actions, your thoughts, your words? This is all the things we're going to be looking deeper into. With the energy of Mercury retrograde and also Mars, that's going to start his retrograde movement between the 5th and 6th of December, so pretty soon as well. These are personal planets. I think we're going to feel like this, like a slowdown, you know. It's going to be very evident. So as I said before, the adventure and the journey is about going inside ourselves. If we want to be in a very extroverted phase, like being very productive and with our energy towards something outside, we might find ourselves frustrated. And once and again, I will try and remind us that in the cyclical and spiral movement of time, there is a time that goes outside, and then a time that actually brings us back into inside, no, a more introverted phase of the whole wheel. And this is it. This is that time. What I do want to say as well is that there is a very heightened creativity within this process this time. So this does not mean it is a time for launching something new or even starting something new, but it is a perfect time for renewal, for perfectioning, for aspiring to excellency in that which we have already started, a project or plan, and turn it into something much more aligned, much more with a longevity to it, more prosperous, and also just simply more real. Because Saturn is there, no? And Saturn is about focus, it's about responsibility and discipline. And Saturn is squaring the new moon. So this is a seed of expansion, of hope, of faith, of love towards life, no? But it has this very important aspect to Saturn, which calls for a proper management of boundaries. When I see Saturn implied in a new moon, I actually see it as extremely fertile, because Saturn is about consolidation. So there is this very beautiful potentiality for materializing this vision, this seed, this dream, obviously doing what Saturn requires, which is to actually focus our energy, commit our energy, not only in the invisible realms, but because there is this spiritual integration that we are being called to have through Pisces, but bringing this into the middle realm, the 3D experience, right? So what I hear in December, especially the first half of it, is like an equalization of our frequency. So we're going to open a 6-month process of manifestation, like we do with every new moon, by looking inside, by listening to the silence that there's always a silence in the darkness of the new moon, of the planting of the seed, right? And also reigniting the fire of hope in the altars of our hearts, like retrieving the joy of our spirits, recalibrating our vision, equalizing our frequency so we can actually be aligned in a more coherent experience. What do you need to feel free? We know Sagittarius is an energy that wants to expand, and Jupiter is there also expanding. So there could be this tendency to like just go all over the board, you know, to excess. Yet there is Saturn, no? There is this condition in the sky that is asking for moderation, for temperance, for sobriety, for a vision that we can hold through time, that we can actually give shape to through appropriate boundaries, I would say, because Saturn is about maturity and patience. So let this purpose be truly connected to reality through our commitment to our energy. Because there is a lot of fire in the sky with the new moon in Sagittarius and Mercury and Mars, I think we ought to be careful with impulsivity, frustration, impatience, and also just jumping too fast into conclusions, like I don't know if that's the word, thinking you already know, or you got there, or you have the answer, or being too opinionated about something. Remember, we are in a process of looking back, right? When I teach about Saturn in my classes, I actually invite people to write haiku poems, you know, because they have such a specific structure, a very limited structure. You have 5, 7, and 5 syllables that you can work with for this format of poems, right? So I think this exercise gives us a lot of clarity about how Saturn, in truth, is in service of creativity. No, he gives us a boundary so we can actually focus, like concentrate all of our creative energy towards manifestation. So if whatever in your life is feeling like a boundary or like an obstacle, maybe see it as an invitation to focus your creative energy, to put attention to the details so you can actually get in touch with the power of manifestation that you possess. Okay, so the ruler planet is Jupiter. He's in Gemini. He's retrograde as well. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, who's in Sagittarius. You see the relationship? There is a mutual receptivity, I think it's the word in English, because they are like taking care of each other's houses, as you can see. And they're both squaring Saturn. I think this gives like I don't know if the word's like retroalimentation, like a flow between them, which can also feel like, as I said, an excess stimulation of our minds, no? So we have to take care of our minds, take care of the amount of information that we receive, that we bring into the world, our opinions, as I said. Let us not forget that the true invitation of this process is to enter silence, and there we can return to true hope. I believe if we actually give ourselves this time and allow us to have the insights, to have the glimpses of creativity, to have a new perspective, we may open ourselves in a much more fluent way to the energy of 2025, which is so radically new. Okay, Mars is in Leo. He's also a creative, solar, radiant energy. He's going really slow because he's about to start his retrograde movement. We are going to look deeper into what happens before we act, what is behind our action, our will, our impulse, what truly motivates us, what ignites us. So there is a beautiful dialogue from Mars to this new moon, to this seed, which speaks to me of courage, of true courage, of heart energy in this seed. And then there's Venus. She's also in a trine, in a beautiful aspect to Urano, and this is also extremely creative, right? She's asking, well, the dialogue is really inviting us to connect with the desire to feel and be free, to find new expressions for our love, and even for our commitment or way of committing ourselves to relationship, to creation. And I think the commitment here is truly to our new or updated values, to the earth, the new earth, to beauty and to love. This is a dialogue happening from Capricorn to Tauro energy, right? And also just mention too, Venus is approaching a conjunction to Pluto, recently entered Aquarius. Remember, she's going to oppose Mars as well. This is pretty intense, passionate energy that also speaks to creativity and authenticity. So this is happening a little bit ahead on the 7th of December, I believe. But let us use this energy, this buildup of creative energy and passionate energy with awareness. I think the whole moment speaks of becoming awareness, of mindfulness. And if we approach it from this space, I think it's a beautiful opportunity that will set our energy for the next season. Maybe in a, yeah, like trying to get it all together. I think this is a process where we can actually draw a wide vision of our lives with a lot more integrity, inspiration, truth, and love. The adventure is here, but the adventure is inside. The journey beyond the known, the crossing borders happens inside of you, inside of each one of us. So we can find a little more of who we are, and we can actually renew our faith, reignite the altars, commune with the fire, and give life again to a higher purpose that called us here at the threshold of change, to be the change, and also in a way be this constant presence inside, where there is a sanctuary of peace that we are invited to go back to, you know. It reminds me of service of Seva when you're in a temple or in a sangha and you are called to do this service in a sanctuary. This new moon is bringing us to the feet of the altar of our own hearts, so we can ignite and take care of our own fire. Sorry about the noise. So we can maybe meditate and listen to this inner guide of our own divinity. I think it'd be a great time these 3 weeks, for example, to do mindfulness exercise by gazing into a flame. It's a beautiful seed of joy that I think begins with a subtle, gentle smile in our hearts, within our hearts. And that's what I wish for you. Now, this beautiful smile in your heart that knows, with faith, with renewed hope, that we are entering a new stage of our aligning with a higher purpose, and that we are ready. I think that's what I have for this beautiful new moon. May you have, yes, a blessed week. Thank you.